But certainly they can win this one. It might give them a little bit of confidence. I think they've got a decent run in as well, Arsenal. So this is a massive game for both teams because Spurs certainly be looking at West Ham and Chelsea above them and saying we need to try and catch them to be the best club in London.
Ray, as three unbelievable midfielders in our studio here, myself, you and Owen, we've seen mistakes from the way Arsenal want to play, the identity that Mikel Arteta is trying to create with playing out from the back. If you're that midfield player, whether it's Tobias against Olympiacos, Xhaka against Burnley, midfield players, Ray, when comes the point where you're just not going to go and show for that ball, where you're thinking, let's push up? Does that come from the managers? Does that come from the midfielder on the pitch?
Do you know what, Robbie? I mean, it's great that you play out from the back. You know, that's what the identity I want to play. But there's times when you can't play out from the back. Now, Leno is just as much to blame. He can see someone closing him down, Xhaka. Look, Xhaka could have turned it round the corner straight away with his first touch. But he's still a bad ball to give him. I mean, he can see the Burnley player trying to close him down. Surely you clear your lines. I mean, as much as I love to see great football and people playing out from the back, even Manchester City, how good they are. We see Ederson every now and again. He has to clear his lines. And it's just making them right decisions because the last two occasions, it's cost Arsenal. I mean, they got away with it at Olympiacos, but 2 points dropped at Burnley. And sometimes the keeper's got to look what the situation is. The Olympiacos goal, I mean, he's not even in his goal. When he passed it to Tobias, who he's not aware of who's around him. And if you look at the way Olympiacos played, they was on the press straight away. They knew what they was trying to, how they're going to win the ball back. And, sometimes as a player, you can coach people to play it from the back, but you just got to use your common sense sometimes. It's not on, so why don't we a little bit longer and try and turn and, miss the press out.
Yeah, Ray makes a good point about that Xhaka one. That ball doesn't exist, by the way. I'm serious. That pass, the ball, everything about it doesn't exist. He shouldn't be there. He's too deep. He runs too quick to Leno. And Leno, obviously, I think because he shows with such urgency, Leno thinks, I better give it to him. But actually, really, that ball, if he hits it a bit slower, maybe he can hit it first time. But
just put it around the corner.
Yeah, but the problem is he's left-footed, right? So he's going to have to hit it with the outside of his foot. A square ball up in the air over a 6'4" centre forward. That's all of it. It just doesn't. Ray makes a good point. Just don't come and receive the ball short, and don't receive it straight. You're supposed to. They teach kids receive it on an angle, don't you? So that you can actually see where the player is. So. There's lots of options, to clip it. I'd love to see them clip it long and put it in the channels, or I just think playing there is there's too much risk involved.
Yeah, Ray, when you look at the results like that one against Burnley and the fact that Arsenal are dropping points in matches where you really would expect them to win these games, what do the priorities need to be for Arsenal this season now? Because, of course, as we all know, if they went on and won the Europa League, they'd get Champions League football. Does that need to be their focus?
Absolutely, yeah. Being realistic, they've got no chance of getting in the top four, and that's still their focus, trying to get back into Europe. Top six is going to be it's going to be tough for them. So I think Olympiacos, they've done their hard bit. They went over to Olympiacos. We talk about no fans in the stadium. It probably helped Arsenal, especially playing in Greece because it's a very hostile place. But yeah, certainly it's got to be Europa League, but. This Sunday is still a massive game. It's a North London derby. The bragging rights going to work or with your mates. It's a massive rivalry between both teams. And, I'm sure Mikel Arteta will be saying to his players, look, there's no fans there, but come on, start on the front foot. And we know how dangerous Tottenham can be on the break, as Jose Mourinho says there. So it should be an intriguing game. But any mistakes like that, and then, Tottenham will punish you with the front three they've got, with Kane, Son and Bale in great form, then, if you make a mistake like Xhaka did against Burnley, it'd be in the back of your net again.
Ray, we saw Martin Odegaard scoring his first goals for Arsenal since making the move against Olympiacos. What have you made of the games that he's played so far? He seems to have adapted pretty quickly.
He has. He's done really well. He had a great spell last year in Sociedad, and he got his chance now, and he's put him into the side. I think Mikel Arteta really trusts him. He's playing a lot of football at the moment in that number 10 spot, which you've got to be able to play and see a pass, which he can. And obviously the goal against Olympiacos was a fantastic strike. Just set up really nice for him, and he really, that was some pace on the ball. I think about 80 odd miles per hour on the ball. So that'd give him a massive lift, because to get your first goal, when you need to get goals from that number 10 area, then he'd be very happy, and he could play a big part, going forward. Whether they can get him next year and keep him, we'll have to wait and see. But certainly towards the end of the season, he could play a big part. And you know, if you're going to create chances, he's the one who's got to try and be that man who opens the door for Aubameyang and Saka and Lacazette and people like that.
Ray, what do you make of Arsenal on a whole this season? FA Cup winners last year, finishing 8th. This year, currently 10th. Might win the Europa League. Are the squad's evolving, young players doing exceptionally well. Mikel Arteta needs time. Where are they? If they finish mid-table and don't win a trophy, have they gone backwards this season? Difficult question, I know.
Yeah, no, it's been a rollercoaster ride for Arsenal. I mean, we've done brilliant last year to beat Man City and Chelsea to get to the FA Cup final and pick up a bit of silverware. Then, everybody's getting excited then. You set the bar a little bit higher. Where can they finish next season? And obviously, Champions League football is so important for the club. Financially, it's very important. To attract bigger players and better players, it's very important. So that's where they want to get to. And we're well away from that at the moment. So a lot of work to be done still. And I know Edu's behind the scenes, who I played with. He knows exactly what you need to be successful. And I'm sure he's working very hard with Mikel Arteta. It's been a real transition period as well, because they've got a lot of players out of the team during this January window. Ozil, Socrates, Mustafi, Kolasinac, all them sort of guys have left. Now, Smith Rowe's got his opportunity, and obviously knows Saka how good he is. And it's all about recruitment now. They can get the right players next season. Partey's not really settled yet because he's been injured too often, but he's going to be a really good signing going forward. And the recruitment is going to be very important during the summer to try and get better players in. But we know the situation. If you're not in Europe, then it's always more difficult to get players in.
Ray, I think you use your experience ever so well there to swerve the question. Well done.
Well, where are they at the moment? There's a lot of improvement needed at Arsenal because, again, we set the bar so high when I was playing, and it's a little bit more competitive now with the teams and the money around the football now, but they need to get better. And Europa League, for me, if they win that, it's a very successful season.
Yeah.
But there's still a long way to go to win it. If they get through Olympia, I've still got quarterfinals and still some great sides in it. So, for me, I'll play my best team in the Europa League. Sometimes rest players. If you know you're not going to get anywhere near the top 6, go for the Europa League and make sure you're ready to go in that. And you need a bit of luck along the way, but for me, that'd be a very successful season if they can win that.
I'm sure there won't be any players rested for the North London derby, though, this weekend, Ray.
No, you don't want to be rested for that one.
Just put into words for us, going into one of these matches, how fired up you get for a North London derby?
Well, it is a massive game, but it's probably in my era, it wasn't the biggest game, if I'm being honest. We all know derby games are always big for the fans, but our big game was Manchester United in that era. But Spurs was always a massive game for the fans' point of view. And, I think the foreign lads, they know they played in derbies, whatever the country they played in, so they know how important it is for the fans as well. But you are fired, of course you are. Playing at White Hart Lane and playing at Highbury was always a great atmosphere when you were coming out the tunnel. So much at stake for a lot of people, a lot of households around North London. So, you just try and do your best you can. And hopefully, we had a very good team that we had very successful in that era. But now, obviously, Spurs have got the upper hand on Arsenal at this present time. So it's a real statement if Arteta can get his team to come out and win the game Sunday and obviously close the gap on Spurs.
Just quickly, I like to reminisce. That team you played in, for me, was one of the best teams, if not the best Premier League team of all time. It was every single position. You couldn't score against you. So dynamic, runs from midfield, up front. Remember that game at Leicester, 3-3, Bergkamp hat-trick?
Oh, what a game.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that was some game. That was really unbelievable. Dennis Bergkamp, probably that was one of the best hat-tricks I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, the free kick, the one he brings it over, what he done with playing for Holland as well. And you had some big guys at the back, Bobby. I mean, Taggart, when they come up, Elliott, you always thought, not another set play. When they come. And it was really hard to defend. But, it was a fantastic game. And Filbert Street was a great little stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, you always had a great atmosphere. But we was kicking ourselves. We thought, how can we give that away and only get a point out of the game?
Yeah.
And we're looking at the title as well, thinking that could really affect us. But lucky enough, we went on to win the league that year, and we got away with it.
Ray, before we let you go, then go on, tell us, what's the score going to be at the Emirates?
Well, last time I was on your programme, I got it totally wrong. So I was with Darren Anderton. I said 2-0 to he said 2-0 to Spurs. He got it spot on.
Yeah.
So look, it's going to be goals tomorrow because a draw for both clubs is no good. So I think there's going to be attacking football. Whether you've got to see the lineups, but I'm going to go for. I think Arsenal will be slight favourites. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win, Arsenal.
Of course you are. Ray, good stuff. Great to see you as always. Thank you so much for joining us.
Else. Go the opposite.
Ray, thank you very much. Great to hear from Ray Parlour there. Let's talk Tottenham then. How good are they coming into this game? They just seem to have hit form at the right time, just as they're going into this North London derby.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's a beautiful thing to see Gareth Bale playing football again. I mean, honestly, the guy is one of the top 5 talents, probably in the world of football. And it's a shame. Madrid, he didn't play, for lots of different reasons. And they started the season really slowly. You look like you didn't have that speed and that intensity. But now he's finding a way to affect games. He's been fabulous. Harry Kane, obviously, absolutely unbelievable. Son, Lucas Moura, I thought was brilliant the other day. So you think about that front four that they have with the balance in midfield. I mean, Gareth, that left foot's a one.
Amazing.
It really is. And so get them in there, put them all together, find a way to play. Maybe the defence stays back or the fullbacks stay back, but Gareth Bale's been inspired. And I know Ray says he has them as favourites. I think Tottenham are pretty comfortably favourites because of that front four.
Do you agree with that? Favourites for the game?
100%. They've won 5 in a row in a competition. They've got so much momentum again. We've talked a lot about momentum on the show today, but it's true. And that confidence that they have, even when Ndombele plays, and they're not as defensive. If you play Ndombele plus the front four that Owen just described, it's even better. They can keep the ball, they can play on the counter, they can have the possession. It's just defensively, there's still mistakes in them. Whoever plays at right back, for example, Aurier or Doherty maybe, but I think it's a very, very good team right now.
On Ndombele, just quickly on him, he has been very, very good for Spurs.
Fantastic. Deeper, just with Højbjerg next to him, higher up in the number 10 position, just behind Harry Kane. He's been one of their best players, and certainly compared to last season, the resurrection has been incredible.
Quick score from both of you.
Tottenham 2-1.
I agree, same.
Ooh.